guys, Snoopy here with round 2 from the ARC's Prelaunch tournament. I forgot to start the recording for the draft, but we'll just go over the game as we go. I am in the 4th seat, so I had the first pick, and I picked Feastspringer. Feastspringer is a strong leader. Here we have Yellow, who has the Elder leader, and they're starting off with the 2 construction. They're building a starport and a bunch of ships. Here we have the 5 as their pass. As Feastspringer, you can pivot with any aggression card, and you basically get to secure a card, and so that's what I'm excited to do. So we see the 7 played, the C's, and so we're going to see a gate station city here. So I pivot here with the 7, and I want to get a card, and I could go for a little keeper here, but instead I go for little Marines, and I think that's fine. I think honestly, what I should have done was played the 3, because that's my only construction card, and I may not be able to play it and get all its pips, and that may be an issue later on. Now we see Court Enforcers pop up, and now that would do pretty good since I'm on a weapons planet. I can tax, and I already have Loyal Marines, so that's another card I'm excited to see. And so we see the 5 from administration, and then keepers declared. And so I can play my 1 to get a bunch of taxation and influence, or I can pivot again. And so we see a psionic and relic combo done for the mystic, who's red. And so that's one of the nice things with the mystic is you start with a psionic and a relic, so they got galactic bards. I probably would have gone for little keepers, but galactic bards is fine. We see spacing unions revealed. I have the 1 and the 2, and so I probably should play one of them. We see now that the gate station is not a psionic, because that is a starport there, so they only get material right now for that gate. It's easy to miss. Gate stations is pretty strong, but the types only match the cities that are in that cluster, and so there's only 1 city right now for cluster 6. So still they could tax a material and get a psionic, or they could just tax their fuel planet down in Sector 4, and that's what they do. Oh yeah, so they're not getting a psionic because they're not copying or pivoting. All right, so our turn. Yeah, we're playing the 1 here, and so we're just gonna tax and get a fuel. Oh, see, we're spending material first, which makes sense. We want a starport. Again, this is where I think I should have just played the 3. If I was going to do that anyway, then I would have a starport, and I could have another ship. So now I'm going to have a hard time getting ships. So I'm just taxing weapons and taxing a material. And I have 2 more, so I'm going to go for Court Enforcers. Makes sense. The weapon guild cards can kind of stack together and kind of combo in a sense. All right, so now we see Yellow. So notice Yellow's is already built 1, 2 ships in that top cluster, and 1, which is right next to me. They have a starport there, so they can easily attack me. And because they have the gate in 2, they can attack red or blue. And this is something I don't think I realized in the moment. I'm really just focusing on the court because of my Feastspringer ability. But what in reality, I need to keep my eye open that if I'm getting all these great guild cards, I'm going to be a target, especially for the player who has the most ships, which right now is going to be Yellow. All right. So we see Yellow has the initiative. And if they play a construction card, if it's a 4 or 5 or the 6, it's not going to be great for me. They played the 4. They're securing a spacing union, which is a good call. Now we have Guild Struggle. So that's a Vox card that lets you steal a guild card. And so now they're spending a material to build another ship. So now they have 6 ships up there. And then they're going to influence twice. So now I'm feeling nervous here because I have loyal Marines. I don't want to get rid of it. But I think what I got to do is I just got to use its prelude ability just to get 3 ships and put it on my weapons planet just as a deterrent to yellow. Yellow doesn't have to attack me. Yellow can attack red or blue. All right, so we see blue here. They moved their ships to that gate, and now they're deciding what else they would like to do. So they're moving over to the material planet, which makes sense. It's open there. Okay. All right, so now it's red's turn. Red has their city controlled by blue in Sector 6. There's not much they can do about it because their starport is over there in Sector 2, and it's blockaded by yellow in the gate. They're going to pivot, and they can secure, and now they're also going to declare. So now, because of the Galactic Bards, they can declare Keeper, and they're going to secure Loyal Keepers, which, again, makes sense. And then they're going to move, and they're going to reveal Outrage Spreads. This is a pretty brutal card early on. So if I secured it, so I can pivot and secure that, I could go for Psionic just to cripple the Mystic. I could go for Relic myself. I'm spending a Relic to secure Court Enforcers. And so now I have Secret Order. And so I still have my action. So I debate whether or not to use my other prelude ability to get through more ships. But instead what I do is I decide to use my action with Court Enforcers to steal 2 agents from yellow. And as you recall, yellow has the most ships. Yellow still has the initiative. So now I've just provoked the player with the most ships who can go and immediately attack me. Now there's a chance they don't have an aggression card. That's something I could have been betting on. But still just very unwise. I only have the 1 aggression, and because all the ambitions are declared, I can't really use it for all its actions. And so we see the 6 done. So now they build the 7th ship with their material, and they move 1 ship to the gate, and as they drop it up, as they move all over to me. So then they just have 1 attack, but with 6 ships. And so, and they're not trying to raid, they're just trying to destroy my ships. The expected outcome here is probably, 4 hits. But they get 6. And so they were lucky. But still, even if they got the 4 expected hits, that's still pretty brutal for me. And now what can I do? I think in my mind I misremembered my weapons cards, and I thought I could put my ships there by my prelude ability with my weapons cards, but I can't because I don't control there. Yellow controls there. And so I can only put ships in the gate in 4 or in my material planet in cluster 6. So this is just a good lesson that if you are going for a court strategy like I was, you cannot ignore what your opponents are doing, especially nearby you. I needed to get more ships. I should have played the 3 to get a starport and a ship or 2 on the board sooner. And so now I'm afraid he's going to raid me, which makes sense. He probably should. And one of the things with Feastbringer is that you start with 1 extra ship. And so I at first I put a material because I want to put a ship there, and then I realize it's going to be damaged. And as you notice, if I do both cards, that's all my ships. So I take back my material. I don't put the ship there, so I leave my city and starport just empty. And I get rid of Loyal Marines. Yeah, so I get rid of loyal marines here, and I put all 3 ships in the other section. So I have 2 areas of 6 ships, so 1 in the relic planet down below, and 1 in the material planet. But it's very difficult for me to get to yellow. And so yeah, this is the downside of going for a court strategy. If you get bullied in the beginning like I was, there's not a lot you can do. And so outrage spreads is still a possibility here. So I can pivot right here, and I can cause outrage spreads. But if I want to hurt yellow has no resources. They have no guild cards. I could go for material, but I may want material myself. Like I have 1 right now. So it's just not a great option. And so we see guild struggle blocked. And so we see they're debating on securing it. And so yeah, so they secure it. So they're going to steal loyal engineers. And guild struggle shuffles the discarded cards back in. And then we have prison wardens. So prison wardens goes great with a weapons strategy. So if I hadn't used court enforcers against yellow and just discarded loyal marines, kept court enforcers, I could have gone for prison wardens too. And so then I would have had a stable combo. I would have had 6 ships on my weapons planet, and yellow probably wouldn't have gone after me. And so here I build a city. I build 2 cities with my material and with my pivot. And the reason I do this is because I have no more ships. And this was another mistake. I put my city to get my city bonus, but I'm not winning an ambition. And those ships are slow. If I put a starport there, they could catapult movement to gate 6, and I can move my other ships there, so I have 12 ships. There's a lot of reasons to build a starport there, and I was just focusing on the fact that I was out of ships. And so that was another mistake there. So I looked to see, what else is in the discard pile, but really, my game's not over. But I'm kind of sweating a little bit. I'm nervous about getting more guild cards just because I can easily get raided by yellow. I'm trying to think through how I can win. Either Tycoon or Keeper doesn't seem very likely. And so I think this is, I guess, a good reminder that if you are in these situations where you made a few mistakes in Chapter 1 or Chapter 2, your game's not over, but you should calm down and you should just slow yourself down so you don't make more mistakes and compound the issue. Looking back on this, I can easily see that, I was not thinking clearly. I was getting a little frustrated with the court strategy not working out like I hoped. And I was kind of miffed by yellow going into my cities when he could have gone to the other players. And but that's okay. Like you just have to roll with the punches, and just remember that one chapter isn't the end all be all. Okay, so here, I think for a long moment what I should do, I think about doing outrage spreads, but instead I just secure prison wardens, and I think this is the right call here because I have 2 captives and I can use them to get more resources or to get trophies if needed. And so we see the 2 aggressions played. This is the last card, and yellow is the only person with the extra cards. They're actually moving out of my city, leaving just 1 guy there. And again, I have no more ships, so I can't build any more there. Warlord's not declared. And we see a raid. They roll pretty good. They get 3 keys. And they do blow up the planet, or the city, which is a material type. And so they're going to get material outrage. And so they can steal loyal keepers, loyal engineers, and if they get loyal engineers, then the material outrage doesn't matter. And they also get mining interest. So they get a bunch of trophies, and then we see Construction Union. Yeah, Construction Union is a good card, like Spacing Union, which is what yellow did to get this extra aggression card. And so here, if you see, they have 4 damaged ships and 1 fresh ship in Sector 6. I'm seeing this. I'm thinking to myself, hey, if I move in there, I can wipe out his fleet, and then that's how I can recover. That is probably not where my mind needs to be at. I need to think through, okay, maybe I can expand to the fuel planet. Maybe I can find a way to consolidate both my fleets together. But I'm just nervous about, my cities that are exposed. But because I built 2 cities in the relic planet, I'm exposed regardless. There's nothing I can do about it. But so we see attacks for weapons, and they take a captive. No declare on the 1. We see the 7 played by blue. Blue has a fuel drinker, and so they can get extra fuel when they pivot to attacks or copy to attacks. So they're securing secret order. And then we see skirmishers. So again, if I had just been patient and just gotten rid of loyal Marines, I could have easily had gotten 3 weapons guild cards. All would have synced together. I would have probably been really good game. And that's what I'm thinking to myself and beating myself up. And again, you just have to learn to let go and just keep playing the game. As far as scoring for Chapter 2 or Chapter 1, red has 8 points. I have 0 points as white. Blue has 2 points and yellow has 3 points. So red jumped to the early lead. We see one reason that white played the 1 administration card is just to repair their ships. So they repaired and taxed, and so now they only have 2, and so I'm still thinking about how can I attack them, but at this point, because they repaired, it's just not worth it. It's be pretty tough to wipe out their fleet, just because they have 1, 2, 4, 6, 8 hit points. That's tough to do without multiple battle actions, and I have 2 aggression cards, the 5 and the 6, and that's just 1 move and 1 battle. I don't have a fuel, so that's just not going to cut it. So I just tax a lot with the 2, and again, just waiting to see what I can do. Relics can be good, but I don't have an easy way to influence a lot. All right, so we see the 6 played, and then the clear, but with secret order, they don't have to place the 0 marker, and so this is another administration card. And so they're deciding what to influence. So they do Relic Fence, which this is a great card if you're going for relics, and to do Outrage Spreads, which is probably good just to block that for me. I don't even know if I would do it or not. I think Construction Union is probably the best card besides Relic Fence, and it may even be better than Relic Fence. All right, so we see red copy to tax, and so now they can get a psionic and something else, and they're going to seize as well. I was debating on seizing myself, but they seized, so they're getting a psionic and a fuel. And what do we do here? Yeah, this is tough. I think we could move, but we have to get rid of an aggression card to do that. And so instead, we just copy, and we can tax. We would love to tax material, but we can't. We can do another relic, or could just block. So we'll block Outrage Spreads, so we could pivot or copy to get that card. But again, I don't even know what we would spread it on. Probably material. So yeah, so we see yellow gets into their ship. They have the most ships on the map. Yeah, yellow's just playing a great game. They're not winning in points, but they're set up pretty well here to get Tycoon, just because they have mining interests. So you see the 7 played. Now I'm going to get excited because, all right, I can play my 5 or my 6, and I can move and battle. And again, one battle is not going to cut it. What I need to do is, if I really want to do something, I got to move and seize. So I play my 5, get rid of a different card, and move to the 1 gate. And what that's going to let me do is I can move and fight on my next turn, and get rid of that 1 ship in my city. That's what I got to do. And if I built a starport down in gate 4 with the relic planet, I could catapult those ships instead. But instead I played the 5 and decided, all right, I'm just going to move 4 ships in, and we're just going to do 1 fight. And the issue here is that any aggression card can be played because the 7 was the lead, but the 0 marker's on it. And so if they play a 2 pip card, that's 2 free hits against me. If they play a 3 pip card like the 1 or the 2, that's 3 attacks against me. So I'm just throwing my fleet away. And so I'm rolling 4 assault dice. I'm hoping for 5 or more hits, and I get 3. So if I got 5 hits, though, that's 2 ships gone. So I take the 2 damaged ships, and I damage 1 more. But he can just take out my fleet. And now his Elder ability triggers because I took trophies, so he can influence, so he gets a guy on a Construction Union. So I think in this situation, like, it could have been worse for me for sure. And so now we see the 1 played, so now we see material to repair the damaged ship. And so it's just not great. I think ultimately, because Warlord is not declared, this is not the time to throw away ships as well. I only have 1 starport, and it's not controlled by me too. So like there's just a lot of mistakes with just this move. So you can see how if you're not letting go of the past and you're just holding on to how things could have been and should have been, you can just compound by making more mistakes. And so we see another great roll. This probably should have just been 2 hits, but we get 3 hits. And so now my whole fleet is damaged. He's going to do another hit and gets, again, above average roll, and gets the rest of my fleet. But again, he's just taking what's offered to him. It's not like he's picking on me. I am putting myself in position to be attacked like this. I put myself in position at the beginning when I didn't put enough ships on my weapons planet as I could have. So Yellow's just taking the opportunities given to him, and when I have opportunities, I'm not taking them. I'm just focusing on the one issue at hand, which is Yellow's in my city, instead of focusing on other opportunities. Okay, so we're now in the situation where we're leading again, and we decide with the tax card here, and we take a material because we'd have nowhere to really build, but it could help us with Tycoon. And we don't have a lot of great options we could influence, and so that's what we're deciding to do. So we go for a Union card, and I think this is fine. I think we could also just go for outright spreads and just make sure we really get that card. But because we have just 1 aggression card, perhaps it would have been better just to secure that outright spread, just to make sure that we're not affected by it. We're kind of hoping that someone else takes the initiative from us, but we'll see. All right, so now we see a seize, and then we see Yellow's doing this. And so they're pivoting with a construction card. They're using their construction union. And so now we'll see what they're going to do. They could probably just repair a ship or 2, or they could place a ship. They're just going to do 1 repair. So Yellow's doing a great job of getting a good fleet out at the beginning, and now they can just repair. They don't need to build a lot more ships. They can just repair what they have and be okay. Now we see attacks from Blue, getting a fuel, and then we see another copy. And so Yellow seized, and that was the right decision. So now we have shipping interest, influence from Red. And then they're also spending a material as well. So they use the psionic to influence, and they use their relic to secure. And so this is why Mystic is such a great leader. It's so easy to get psionics that if you have loyal keepers, you can just combo it just to get easy cards from the court. So their court strategy is just better than mine right now, just because they have the psionics available for actions and the loyal keepers as well. So now we see yellow is moving in with the mobilization 1 and then the weapons, and now they're going to raid. I'm not really sure what they're hoping to get from me. Let's see. So they roll pretty well. Got 2 keys. So they can take 2 of my resources. They do destroy my city, though, and that's what they're going for. So that's why they were attacking me, so they could provoke outrage. And now they can either get outrage spreads, or they could do my union card. And so they've used 2 action pips, 1 to move in, another 1 to move in, and then 1 to fight. And so they're taking my relics. Oh, no, sorry. They're doing outrage spreads, and they're doing relics. So now I can't use relic. And this is pretty brutal for me because I can't use relics to secure. And as well as for everyone else. But Mystic, the red player, he has a little keeper, so he's the one player who's not really affected by this. So for his raid, he's taking my 2 weapons instead of prison wardens. I think that's probably a mistake here, because he just outraged weapons, and he can't spend them. He's just taking them away from me, but I don't have that many ships. I mean, I have a lot down below, but there's no starport there. So I think he should have just taken prison wardens, and he could have used that to get 3 more ships on the map. And he influences 1 time. Now we see the 7, so now we see initiative seized again, for this time for blue, and he's contesting Lattice Spies, just going for the keeper, or the empath ambition. And we see the 1 pivot, so we see red building another ship, which makes perfect sense. He does 2 actions though, and I'm not sure if we catch that or not. So I'm taking little pilots. The big reason here is because I want to move around some more. Little pilots is a great way to do that, and it's a 3-key card. My issue though is that I can still be rated in my weapons sector in 1 with just a starport. And I see the 2 played. They're spending a fuel as well to move. So they're moving over to the weapons planet. They're going to influence 3 times. So they're going skirmishers, which is a really good card. They're going for material cartel. And this is where I think I forgot that yellow had mining interests just the very beginning of the chapter. And so I just ended up focusing just on material cartel instead of remembering that yellow has a good counter to that. We pivot, we do 5. I'm going to use these 2 just to get resources. I should just go for fuel here. And I get 1 fuel, but then I go for material instead, and that's just a mistake just because yellow has mining interests. If I just go for fuel here, it's not a big deal. And at this point, red was out of cards. And so, but if you'll see here is that he's using his material, he's using loyal engineers as well to build, and he's going to do mining interest to get all those material back. And so he's building out his cities, he's getting extra slots, and he's just going to use up his fuel, his material, and then he's discarded to get all the material. So all my material is taken away, so it's 3 resources for me. And so now instead of winning Tycoon, I am not even getting second. And so this is pretty brutal turn of events at the end of chapter 2. But again, it's just the choices that you make along the way that cause this. So I could have made some different choices and not put my himself in position just to be dominated by yellow, but it could have been a different player. It could have been red or blue. And I have 6 ships just doing nothing in the relic sector down below in sector 4. So we have some scoring happening. So red jumps ahead because they do win Empath and they get second in Tycoon. And so now we're in chapter 3. Chapter 3, we have no aggression cards. Then we have a lead with an aggression card. So now we can get a card. The only problem is that the card we want? Do we want that Union card because we can get raided? And I think the answer is yes. We still want that. Now we see Fuel Cartel, another good card. And so blue's just doing a bunch of secures. They declare Tyrant. Okay, so we got Court Enforcers and Call to Action, 2 really, really good cards. We had Court Enforcers before, but that got reshuffled. So here I think what we got to do is we have to secure that Union card. We just got to pivot, secure it, and then we can influence a different card. But I'm not sure what we decide here to do, because the other issue we have is that we also have to declare Warlord just to get our ships back. We have no ships. Our ships are trapped in yellow's trophy box. And so I think my fear right now is that I'm just going to be sitting duck with my starport. And there's just not a lot I can do. At the same time, like I'm still just not seeing a way out of here. We need to stop red, but how can we do that? It's not really clear to me. And also, I'm not the one who needs to decide that. Like yellow and blue, they're the ones who are closer to red and can possibly do something about it. So now we see a C's here, and so they move over to blue, and that leaves the city open. And I think I focused too much on this as an opportunity to do some raids against blue, but that opportunity is not going to go away. There's no ships that can easily get there. They can only build 1 ship a turn. And so they attack blue, do some damage. And here I gotta just secure my card. And now they're doing a raid. They roll pretty poorly. They only get 1 key. And they have 2 self-hits. Or 3 self-hits. Yeah, so they roll pretty poorly. So again, all the reason, just be patient. Secure the Union card. Get an extra turn. You have that. So I copy, and I take Call to Action here, which I think is another good option. So I get another card, and it's another construction card. So I was hoping for an aggression card. It's just a construction card. We see we'll impasse there. I think that's another fine option. I think part of my bias here is I know what's about to happen, so I think just getting my agents off the court deck is probably more valuable. I could secure that and then influenced Call to Action. And so now we see another raid. So perhaps I made the right decision here because I knew yellow was going to raid me again. And then they could take my Union card before I could use it. So, but let's see. Yeah, so during a raid, and they do destroy my starport. They get 3 keys, which is pretty lucky for 4. And they move 1 out. So now I can't be raided in that weapons area again. I'm relatively safe in Sector 4, where I have 4 ships, but I have no starports, so they're kind of stuck. Not easy to move. And then I have my material planet there. So at this point, I'm hoping to secure, but I have no way to do that because I don't have any relics. Relics is outraged as well, and then I have no aggression cards, and then 3 were just played. So there's a chance we don't see another aggression card for a while, and so my 2 agents there are kind of stuck, and it's just not clear how to best go forward for me. And in this situation where You're hoping for one suit of cards. In this case, for me, it's aggression cards. You don't have that. How do you pivot? How do you go to a different area? And this is where you kind of have to take what the table gives you. So red has left themselves open. So they have that city next to me in Sector 4, and they're getting a bunch of cards. I have 6 ships. So we see Mass Uprising is another good card. I have no ships in my supply, so that doesn't really help me. I play the 7 to seize, and I'm thinking, okay, I got to declare Warlord just to get my ships back. I'm not really sure if that's the best call or not, but I get the initiative either way. And here I just move a ship over, 4 ships. Well, no, why not move all of them? That's my question. Is if you're going to raid and you don't have a lot of, I guess I do have a fuel, and then we see yellow trying to surpass me on this admin union card, and is that frustrating? Oh, absolutely, because yellow's been out murdering me the whole game. I don't want to see this. But again, even if I could tie, would that change anything? I don't have a way to secure it. I think I just have to let him take my 2 agents and just move on. It's not a big deal if he gets this card. If we're not able to use it this round, I can write it back, or someone else could raid it away. Someone could destroy one of his cities and get it. There's not a lot of reasons to worry about this one card. Yes, it's 2 agents, but Tyrant's declared, so those agents would come back. But I can already tell you that it's in my mind, and it's a little frustrating. So, all right, so we see blue moving, and they block the gate. Then they move around from the 3 to the 4 to 6 to move over to that city where red has all those damaged ships. All right, so now it's our turn again. We play the 4. We declare Warlord, and people are a little surprised at this at the table, but I explain that I need my agents back. And so I block 2 players here. And this is, I don't know, again, what I'm thinking here. I don't, Fuel Cartel isn't that big of a deal because Tycoon isn't declared. Let red get Fuel Cartel. It's not a big deal. And so they put even more agents on the cards, and I have the lead. And then yellow just matches me right there. And he's leading it. And then the 7, so that's 1 less aggression card now is played. He takes Uprising, so now blue has a bunch of ships on the map in Sector 6. And then we see Loyal Marines. And Loyal Marines is a great card, particularly if you have weapons outraged. But it can also be discarded to get 3 ships anywhere you control. So, all right, so it's now yellow's turn, and so if yellow has, a way to secure it, great, but they don't. And so now the question is, what are they going to do? They play 6. They're going to spend material as a fuel with loyal pilots, and they're going to repair another ship, and then they tax. So I think yellow is doing really good stuff here, playing a solid game. They're not winning point-wise. Red is clearly in the lead, but as far as like board position, they're in a great spot. They still have those 4 ships down in Sector 3 they haven't touched, and they can catapult on almost anywhere in the map. They also have blues planet on Sector 2. So yellow's doing very well, even though they're not winning. We see a couple copies. And so we have the 7, so we know that we can tax, or we can secure, or not secure. We can tax, or we can influence. And so yellow, red's deciding what they want to do here. So yeah, they're gonna influence, and they can use the fuel as a relic with little keepers, and then they're gonna get core enforcers. All All right, and then we see Song of Freedom, so you can return a player city that you control to their board, and then you get the initiative if you do so. Here we're playing the 7, and we're seizing the initiative. And then we just put another agent there. This is really foolish. So this is something you should just not do. You should not get into a war without a plan. Again, that's my question here is what is my plan as white to get that card? I can't. I'm hoping there's another aggression card. But there hasn't been. Like, there's most likely not going to be another one this round. I have no way to do this, so I should have taxed red instead of influence. I should have taxed, because then I could get another action, which is the tax, and now I have 2 agents, and I have prison wardens. So now I can use those 2 agents to get 2 more resources. And so instead I got 1 resource from 1 tax action. Instead I could have 2 resources from 2 tax actions plus 2 agents. So that's 4 resources. And there's a lot you can do. You can get weapons, you get fuel. Like there's a lot of things you could have done here that I just didn't do. Now I have all my agents are either in captives boxes, trophy boxes, or on the court. So that means Feastbringer's ability means nothing now. I can't influence unless I secure one of these 2 cards. And as we've already mentioned, I just can't. Like there's 4 there. There's 3 other ones, but they may not show up in a way that I can copy or seize. That if people use them to pivot or use them to copy where they're face down, nothing I can do. All right. So now it is Yellow still deciding what they want to do here. And they're looking at all of Red's cards, and we're talking about who's winning and how, Empath is clear going to Red and what that's going to mean for the lead. And again, I need to let these guys work that out and decide for themselves how they want to deal with it. I don't need to be the one to deal with it. Yes, I can raid Red, and I'm the best position to do that, but I don't need to be the main person policing. I can just be content to let these guys try to work it out. And so now we see a 2-way tie for Tyrant with 3 for yellow, 3 for blue. And I have 1. And I could have had 2 if I just let yellow just, get that card. And then now we see actually another surpass from blue. They're deciding if they want to influence and what that would look like. Looks like yellow's still getting his agents worked out, but yeah, I think overall in this game state, blue is okay, but their issue is they are getting second in Empath. They're tied for Tyrant, and they may lose it. And the Warlord, they're not getting anything. Warlord, there's a tie between me and Red for second, and then yellow has first. So now they're discarding material cartel just to steal material, and they steal one for me. I kind of bemoan this, but again, this is a good example of why would they pick from yellow? The only other person is yellow, and they've shown to be very aggressive if you mess with them. Whereas for me, like, what can I do? Like, if someone messes with me, especially blue, how can I hurt blue? I can't. There's nothing I can do as recourse against blue for taking their material. So I think blue made 100% the right decision to take from me, even though it may feel bad. Yellow's been very aggressive. They protected their stuff. They've protected their interests. So I think that's all the more reason just to be mindful of how you play the game, how you do table talk, but just as with other strategy games, that if you can mess with someone and they can't mess with you back, that's probably the best decision, not necessarily because of how the table feels, but like, what can they really do? Like, what can I do against blue for taking my material? I can't do anything. And so, like, the only thing I could do is, well, I could not police white or not police red. But again, that's not really helpful either, because I need some of those cards. Like, if I could raid red successfully, I could win Empath. I could maybe, clearly get second place in Warlord. And so those are multiple reasons for me to attack red. And so there's nothing I can do to make the table not pick on me because of my weakened state. And now we see blue has enough cities built where they're revealing a bonus. I joke with blue to, hey, do you want to go for this court card? And they laugh and go for Loyal Marines, which is a great choice. They also have a guy on Song of Freedom. We see two influences here. Yep, you see influence and secure with the Royal Keepers. And then we see Sworn Guardians show up in the court. Yet red's in a great spot. Tycoon's not declared though. But I think like they have a really good board state in general. They just don't have a lot of ships. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 fresh ships, and then they have 4 damage ships, and then here we go. So now we see court enforcers discarded. So now they have another 3 ships on the map. So now they've secured their one weak spot was they don't have a lot of ships. But still they are weakened down in Sector 4 where we have our 4 ships. Okay, so we have one more card than everyone else, but they're both construction cards. So this is why I should have, when I taxed, I should have done 2 tax actions so now I could have 2 captives for a prison warden so that way I could get 2 weapons with my build cards. Or you use a tax action in one of my cities so I have a material to use so that I could use a material build action to use the court enforcer to get some captives. Because now I have 3 pips on both of my last cards, and then construction was even played, but what can I do? There's nothing I can do. I can just use a captive and get 1 weapons. But imagine if I had 2 weapons, And this is where I'm moving in, and I'm just setting up for next time. I'm just going to fight. So again, why did I not move in all 6 ships before? I'm not sure. I think ultimately, there I go. I build 2 starports because I know I'm getting a bunch of ships back. It's tied, so I'm kind of realizing some of my mistakes here. I need more starports just to build ships, but also just to move more easily. And your yellow has a card, but yeah, ultimately I think you have to just play to your outs. And my outs here are if I can raid the Mystic and get a ton of stuff, I'll be okay. I'll get some points on the board. My board state will still be weak, but I can build some ships back. And here I'm forgetting a key part of the game, and some of you who are more experienced are kind of realizing why I didn't leave my cities abandoned in the relic, and why I didn't leave my material planet undefended, kind of like it is now, is that anybody can go in and destroy my cities, and they'll take the Admin Union card with all those captives as trophies. And so that's going to be 10 trophies for red or blue, or 5 if it's yellow. And I'm doing this raid, and I don't do too hot here. I think what I got to do is I got to just repair with my last 2 pips, because I did 1 action with my weapon to battle, and now I can just repair. But instead I do another raid. And so I get 4... I think I just get 2 keys here. It's just 3 keys here. It's just frustrating because if you get 4 keys, it's more clear what you can do. But instead, I just get the 3 keys, and no, that's average. That's very, very average for 6 dice. You can get 5 keys. You can get 7 keys. It's definitely possible. I've seen it before, but 3 keys on 6 dice is about average, even though it feels bad. I can take a little impasse, which I think is fine. I think really, if I'm trying to hurt red, I need to take a little keepers, but I want 2nd place. And I need to raid again, and that's the other issue, is that I needed 6 keys if I was going to get second place for this. Now I'm trying to on the fly think through, what else can I do? And I think just refix. Yeah, I fix a ship. I just need to fix one more ship. But I go for another raid, and then I hurt myself more, which is expected. And then I get 3 keys again. Or I guess, I get 4 keys this time. So I get 4 keys the second time, so it's a little bit better. So here, I think I just go for little keepers. Just go for little keepers. You have a combo there. You don't need to worry about these other cards. You don't know if Tycoon's declared. I could go for the Psionic, I guess, but that would just tie us. And so I've also provoked Fuel Outrage. So I don't know why I'm looking at Shipping Interest and Fuel Cartel. I think for me, it's like, well, I can maybe go for a Tycoon with these. The Material Cartel card's been discarded. So I think perhaps that's what I'm thinking. But again, my cities are so weak. And there's incentive to attack me because of these agents in the court. Just go for a little keeper, and then you'll have this engine that may can protect you the rest of the game and help you in the court. But instead, we don't do that. So now we're into the chapter. All these ships and cities and go back. And so now we have scoring happening. So blue goes up a bunch. I successfully stopped red. And so I did some police work, but I have no points to show for it. So now it's going to the 4th chapter. And we're not doing too hot. We are starting with the initiative, which is good, but we have 4 damaged ships away from our city. We have 2 ships up north in Sector 6. So I leave with the 7, and I don't declare, I believe. But yeah, I'm not sure what I should have done here. I think perhaps I could lead with the 2 and declare Tycoon. I think that would make some sense. But I tax. I think what I gotta do is I gotta either move my ships back or just repair my ships with the 3. And so we see here yellow is moving all their ships in with 2 actions from their resources, and then they're just gonna fight me. And they just want to destroy. They're gonna raid, and they're gonna destroy a city. And they're going to take all my captives, and they're going to raid a bunch of stuff. And again, this is not because I have anything against yellow or yellow has anything against me. It's just I left myself completely wide open by going after red. And so they destroy a city, and they get 1, 2, 3, 4 keys. So again, they rolled 6, got 4 keys. Pretty good. A little above average, but average is about 3 or 4. And so now they can take my fuel and shipping interests. So yeah, all the more reason to have discarded my fuel cartel cards because I was so weak. Instead, I kept them. Same thing with prison wardens. I could have used this right when I started my turn, because I was so weak. But instead, I, for some reason, assumed that people wouldn't go after me. But again, even though you're in last place with arcs, that doesn't matter. Like, the people go for what makes the most sense, what gives them the most value. And I, through Free Springer being a really good card for getting court cards, I'm just getting all these good court cards, but I don't have the board presence to protect them. And that's kind of the issue that you can face when you play arcs, is that you can be a piñata. And you don't want to be a piñata. You want to be aggressive. You want to be defensive and have a good position where you can prevent people from hitting you over and over and over again. And this is a good lesson just to look at what that looks like when you don't do that. So yes, do I still think Free Springer is a really good leader, one of the best in the game? I still do. But even if I had a different leader, that wouldn't have helped me here. Instead, the misplays of focusing on the court, not looking at board position, missing the vulnerabilities you're leaving when you go to attack someone else. Like that's what's happening. So if you look at yellow has guarded most of their stuff by putting a ship in the gate. Yes, you can move in to gate 3 and get to the fuel planet there and raid yellow, but it's going to be tricky. Red is probably the best position to do that, but we'll see. I mean, so far no ambitions are declared, and that's also a key point to remember, is that you have to be careful to go for things if the ambitions haven't been declared, because Warlord could be declared, it could be Keeper, or even Empath, and then things can be declared multiple times. So it could just be a Tyrant game where the Tyrant's declared 2 times, and that would drastically change the game. All right, so we see Red is playing a 5 here. They're going to influence with their Psionic and then secure Arms Union. A great card for them, so that way they're going to get extra card. All right, so now we see C's from Blue. We see Farseer, one of the best cards in the game. And so now it's Blue's decision of what they want to do to lead. But no, I think like when you look at arcs as a game, and we see the 7, and they're deciding if they're going to declare. If they declare Keeper Empath, they don't have to put the 0 marker on it. But Arcs is a great game in that even though like I have 0 points, it's still not out of the woodwork for me to come back if I can convince the table to focus on each other and not be a point pinata. I can maybe crawl back from this, but it's gonna be very, very tough. And this is why like I'm still valuable for people to tax me, or to go after me for a little impasse. Now impasse declared for 9 points, and so now Blue also can take my city away and get another city back, and they have all their cities on the board now. So now they're gonna get 5 bonus points. They're in the points lead. They're in a great position. All right, so we have Red playing the 5, and they're using their Arms Union to get the 7. They probably could have waited. However, makes sense just to get something for now. But I'm wondering if they maybe had a different option. But yeah, then we see we're playing a copy, and we're just not really sure what we want to do exactly. Because we can secure a card, can do Populous Demands, declare another ambition. Farseers is probably the best card here. I think we probably should just get Farseers. Yeah, so that's what we do. And we get Elder Broker showing. It's okay card in this situation. It's not really what you're looking for. But we have another situation with yellow over one city, blue over a different city. We have starports where we can build some ships, but we don't have many actions. And now yellow's moving and discarding a card to get a bunch of ships out. So again, that's something I should have done with my first turn because I had the initiative, but I didn't pop off on my cards like I should have, just to rebuild my position. I was just still tentatively holding on without realizing just how weak I still was. And that's the nice thing with guild cards is that you can, with a lot of them, just discard them to get a useful ability. And that's what I just needed to do. I just didn't recognize that. We see admin union from yellow. And so now almost all of us are going to get extra card because I'm going to use Farseers if possible. Now we see shipping interest being used, and yeah, it's yeah, again, it's if he's using it, yeah, so he's taxing my relic city. He's moving. So again, Yellow's playing very well. He's using what he has, taking multiple actions on his turn with his resources, getting more resources very quickly so that he has just strong turns in general. All right, so now we see Tycoon declared. This is an interesting play from Red. I'm not sure why Red is going for Tycoon. Yeah, I'd be curious to hear what the Red player was thinking with declaring Tycoon. This is allowing us to play our 1, taking 3 action pips, which will be nice. We may just not want to do that, but so yeah, I think now that we've seen what's happened with these first few cards, I think the play for us for sure had to have been start with a 3, build more ships, possibly declare Tyrant, possibly not, just get some more ships, discard our Prison Wardens to get 3 more ships. Now we have 5 ships on the map, and we're ready to do some things and let other players decide what to do. On this raid, we see quite a few keys. As the city is destroyed, and so we're going to have Outrage, and then we get to see a trophy taken. And the question is, okay, so you hit the jackpot. You got, I see 4 or 5 keys there. And what do you take? So you see Secret Order and Lattice Spies. Those are good choices because of what's declared. So now it's our turn, and I'd also note that Red was able to move back to their starport, which was a really good move. And this is something that kind of keeps them more protected since they just have 1 building on the map. All right, so we play our 1. We have 3 action pips. I think the big reason for this is that we have no reason to get a court card, so we can move over, and we're just gonna fight, I guess. So we have 2 fights. So we're rolling just skirmish dice, all right. And we get 2 hits. That's expected, and we're just gonna do it again, I guess. And we get 2 hits. So, yeah, I don't think that's the play here. This was, I think, yeah. So now we have Yellow, and they could move out or probably just attack me back. Probably what they should do is they could build a city or starport, sorry, and then catapult all their ships out. But this is also fine that they're just gonna repair some ships and just fight me, I guess. So that's also fine. So they repaired some ships because, again, they have loyal engineers and they have a bunch of fuel, and so they repaired their ships. So all those attacks I did are meaningless at this point. But I would just build a starport and just leave, or if you just want the trophies, you can go for the trophies. Warlord is not declared. You can also just raid. I have several good things. So this is what we see here, is that they're just going to do 1 last raid, and also add some assault dice just to wipe me out. And so we see 3 keys here. The city's destroyed. Yeah, so they again, this is just another reason just to be careful with your ships if they are damaged. You should probably just repair them. And so I could have, when I played the 3, if I had played my 3 earlier, I could have built a ship or 2 ships and then did some repairs. I also have material planet I just never taxed. And so that's just on me for not using material to repair and just maintaining a healthy fleet throughout the game. It's something I just really struggled with from beginning to end. And so now we see a pivot, and they're going to tax and get a captive for me, which makes sense. And so I somehow got the initiative with my 1, which is definitely possible in a 4-player game. So now I play my 3, and what do? I build 2 ships, makes sense, and I probably repair. yes, I should spend my relic as a material to repair some ships. Yeah, so I'm just repairing 3 ships. So I built twice with my relics and I repaired 3 times. I probably should have used. Well, yeah, I couldn't use anything else. So, but yeah, ideally I can move away from yellow. But we'll see. So now yellow has got the initiative, and they're using Farseers, which I didn't use, that they raided from me, to get extra cards. So again, this has just been a bad game, just for me overall. Just getting guild cards, not using them. Not having a good board presence. And I would say for why this happened, it was just because I was focusing on the court a little too much. Bad things happened, got a little distracted by the bad things and not just taking a break, resetting, and re-looking at the board. Because looking at this, I had a lot of opportunities to get a lot of awesome stuff. Yes, things were taken away from me. Yes, I was a little unlucky on some of the dice, but at the end of the day, like, you have to stand by your decisions, and that just wasn't the case for me this game. I made a lot of mistakes. I see blue here is using skirmishers to get more ships. They only had 2, so they're just putting 2 down, but that's a great call. They're vulnerable, and they're using fuel, and they're going to battle, I believe. No, they're not going to battle. They're just going to tax, yeah. And then we see a build here. So now it's going back to yellow for the initiative. And I play the 6 admin card. Or I guess they're not. Yeah, they're doing the 5. And they're playing Keeper, which is interesting. So they're moving ships in, and then they're going to tax. If you look at the court, there's 2 guild cards with Keeper icons, so relic icons. And then red has the 1 Keeper icon. Yeah, I'm curious as to why declared Keeper. I mean, it makes sense to do Keeper versus Empath, because there's no Psionic City that yellow has easy access to. There's just the 1 that red has, and red already has 2 guild cards for Psionic, and they're the Mystic. So blue is spinning a weapon, and they're going to raid me. And so they get 4 keys. And they do a lot of self-hits, but they take the city. They lose their material, which hurts them quite a bit. And then they take the cartel card. Which makes sense, because you're going for a tycoon. Yeah, I think that was the right call to raid for sure. That was definitely the right decision. I think perhaps use the material first, since you are a material planet, if it does go poorly. All right, so what do we do? Well, we wanted the tax, and we have no city. We only have starport, so we can't tax, and we have no agents. I don't know if I made that clear earlier, but with the board state, with all our cities getting taxed, we have no agents, so we can't influence either. So we just played a card and did nothing, which is probably the lowest point of playing arcs in my short time playing arcs. Playing an action card to copy and do nothing was pretty bad. And now we have an aggression card, so we can copy to get a relic card, but we can't really go for second easily. It would just be a tie. And so now we see yellow moving in to do 1 big raid to get the fuel cartel, which makes sense. Because yellow, even though they're third right now, they have an extra card from Farseers. And they have an extra card, I believe, from Admin Union as well. And so they're going to have more turns than anyone else. And so if they can get their cities out and win just 2 ambitions, they should win. So even though I think at this point we realized that red was going to get enough points to end the game, whoever has the most points at the end of the game is going to win. And so it is a race. And so we see the trophies being given. And they got 5 keys, which is pretty lucky. So they end up getting all the fuel they need. And so that raid is going to allow yellow to win Tycoon. And then now they just need a way to get another relic through a tax action, which they should have from their admin union card. But still, they have to build out their cities, which are able to move around the map, and then build out their last 2 cities. The last city is damaged because blue controls that planet with more fresh ships, but you can still build there. It just is going to be damaged, and then we see a tax action as their last. And so now they have 2 relics for Keeper, and then they have the Fuel Cartel and a bunch of icons for Tycoon. And so that's just 10 points, but because they're winning those 2 ambitions, they get 5 points per ambition as a bonus for all their cities being out. And so that's just going to promote yellow up to the top. And red was very close. If yellow didn't have that last action card, it probably would not have happened. But the game was going to end either way. So that's what I got for you guys. This is my round 2 match. I hope you learned a lot. I certainly did. And I hope this shows you why ARCs can be a brutal game, can be a mean game, but still very fun. And if you talk about it, think it out, that it really is not luck-based. Like what happened to me could have been seen as unlucky, but ultimately it was just the bad decisions I made. So I hope you see this, and if you enjoyed it, give a like, and I appreciate all you guys.